If you're thinking about moving and you want to learn about what everyday life is going to be like in your new town, this is the place for you. On Open House, we sit down with local, top producing real estate agents to help you find the best places to live in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So if you don't want buyer's remorse and you want to find your dream town, we are here for you. So go ahead and book a free call with us and we'll help guide you to the area that is right for you. Now, let's jump in and learn about your new home. Today, I'm really excited because we're joined by Maria Steppling, who is a South Riding expert. She has been in real estate for 10 years, living in South Riding for just about 24 years. And in the last year, she did 56 transactions. And that's incredible because I'd say most full-time realtors are doing anything from 10 to 15 transactions probably a year. So with that being said, she is on fire. She's killing it, blazing through these transactions, and is just a really great person to talk to as it relates to South Riding, being just a local who knows the area and who's helped a lot of people find homes there and get settled in very well. So Maria, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Great opportunity.
Yeah, glad to do it. And just to get things started before we dive into South Riding in particular, could you just tell us just a little bit about yourself before we get started?
So when I graduated school, I actually was working with a flooring manufacturer for about 15 years. And in that time frame, my husband and I had 2 daughters. When we first started looking for a single family home, we realized our money was going to go much further into Loudoun County than it was in Fairfax County where we were living. And so we crossed the border of Fairfax to Loudoun and discovered South Riding. Took a first pass at it. Not much was happening in the neighborhood at that time, but as we delved a little further into it and realized that this was going to be a real town with multiple dwellings at multiple price points and a community center and a golf course, we realized that this was going to be much more comprehensive for us. And certainly the home prices were in our range at that time. And so we actually started working with a builder and proceeded to build the home. So we are original owners. So it's been really exciting to see all the years later how this neighborhood has grown in all facets. But it's been a fantastic place for us because I went from a salesperson in the flooring business to a stay-at-home mom, really getting intimately familiar with the schools. And at that time I was out of the workforce. And so a friend of mine down the street who happened to be the team leader at Keller Williams Chantilly, said I needed to get into the business. So very promptly, I took a tour of KW and I was thrown into the next real estate class, and the rest is history. So I've been on 2 teams now, on the Reynolds team, which is now the Empower Home team. But I jumped back into real estate after my girls were old enough. And so I've now been with Empower Home for about 6 years. Just over 6 years, and primarily serving Fairfax and Loudoun County. And by staying in one place for such a long time, it's just afforded me the opportunity to work with people who have gone through multiple purchases and sales as their family needs change. And some of them didn't even feel like they needed to leave South Riding because the neighborhood offered that for them.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I'm sure just being plugged into all those communities and clubs and all the things that you get thrown into when you're raising kids, I'm sure that's given you a lot of good insight, how to have a good time there as well. So what's it like? Is it a city? Is it a, rural town? Is it suburban? How would you kind of categorize it from that perspective? And what's kind of the overall vibe like?
So South Riding is really a suburb, if you want to call it a suburb of metropolitan DC area. We're just a little bit south and west of Dulles Airport. So we're about 15, 20 minutes door to door. And it was really one of the most southeastern communities right across the border into Loudoun County. And the notion of that would be that it would be its own proprietary. It was going to offer one-stop shopping. So there would be schools, there would be amenities, there would be shops, there would be restaurants, there was going to be a real town feel to it. And so it's a suburb, it's active, it's busy, there's places to walk and play, and there's a number of shops and restaurants that have come into the area, some new developments that are hopefully on the horizon sooner versus later.
Hmm.
It's given us an opportunity to raise families here. It's very diverse. We have people who moved here from all over the world and who really not just live and work in Loudoun, but people from here are commuting into the city, but they're just finding that their money went a little further out here than it did closer in. And in some cases, they were able to build new.
Sounds good. And you said how far is it door to door from like South Riding to DC, more or less?
So when I was commuting into DC, because of where South Riding is located, since it's on Route 50, and now with the completion of Loudoun County that links up to Loudoun County Parkway that links up to the toll road, I really had multiple routes getting into the city. Took me about an hour if I really wanted to go down into the very heart of, say, K Street in Connecticut. I was able to get there in about an hour.
Okay, well, that brings me to the second question that I have, which is really just about the economics of South Riding. Do most people commute to DC? Are most people working locally? If they're working locally, what are some of the big companies that they're going to?
From here, what we have access to, especially now with Loudoun County Parkway, it takes us up to the tech corridor. So
Mm.
you'll have larger companies like Lockheed Martin, you'll have Booz Allen Hamilton, you'll have a lot of the tech companies. And now, of course, with the regional headquarters, with Amazon, all of Route 267 is lined with those businesses. So people are actually able to commute for less than 30 minutes up into those areas. You do have some people who will take a further commute into DC for any number of reasons. We still have a lot of government workers here as well, people in the military. What's nice though is finally Loudoun County is starting to get the additional silver line for the metro. So we have
Mm.
metro stations opening as far west as Ashburn. So from here now, you're going to be able to commute 15 minutes to the nearest metro station and be able to take that all the way into the city if that's where you're working. It's quite diverse here. Certainly, we've got a large healthcare system with Fairfax and Nova, but we also have HCA.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, it sounds like you guys have actually quite a lot. Now that you mentioned, I think that Boeing might have a pretty large office nearby as well. So as far as of course, when people move into a new area, oftentimes they have kids with them. And one of the biggest questions on people's minds as it relates to children is where are they going to be spending the most of their time? So with that being said, what are the public schools like? What are the private schools like? What kind of different types of schools do you guys have in and around the South Riding area?
So where I happen to live in South Riding, I'm walking distance to Little River Elementary, which was huge appeal for me. A lot of the elementary schools, with the exception of Cardinal Ridge, have a walk zone, but there are buses that transport kids. So we've got 5 elementary schools feeding into J. Michael Lunsford, which is our middle school, which then feeds into Freedom High School. So we've got a nice network of public schools, and people can do their research on that as far as knowing that I believe we have one of the very best school systems in the country, being
Sure.
Loudoun County schools, but also the Dulles South District has had quite a bit to offer. And I find people want to stay here once they're locked into this particular school system. However, if you are looking for private school, Paul VI did build their campus for the high school. Used to be located in Fairfax, but they opened that campus at fall of 2020. So there is a private high school here, a Catholic high school here, and their enrollment has shot up tremendously. So there are some supporting parochial schools if that's the system you choose. And then in addition to that, we've got some great daycare, preschool type programs as well. And so
Sure.
they have some private kindergarten. There's a Montessori school here. So there's lots of choices as far as schooling for the kids.
Perfect. Yeah, it sounds like you got quite a few different options around the area. So that's awesome. And when you're done with work and when you're done with school, what are you going to do? You're going to go spend time out in the town, right? So,
Oh, yes.
with regards to
Metropolis.
yep. So with regards to restaurants and bars and just things to do out in town, what are some of the like top restaurants and just places to eat and drink for you in South Riding?
Thankfully, that's become really diverse too, because I like food from all nationalities. Our original standby is the South Riding Inn. I've got to give that a plug because they were one of the very first neighborhood restaurants to open. It's a great sports bar. The food is excellent. They're always doing something with celebrating, one of the football games or the St. Patrick's Day celebration is always fantastic. But since then, we've been able to bring in restaurants like Ford's Fish Shack. We are getting a Foster's Grill that should be opening hopefully in the next month or two.
Cool.
Have Mexican, we have pizza, we have a great Indian restaurant, a couple of really good Chinese restaurants. So the diversity is there as far as sampling something from different cultures.
And as far as like I'm kind of a distillery buff of sorts. Do you happen to know if there's any wineries, distilleries, breweries, anything like that around the area, maybe, or if not, maybe craft shops, things of that nature, local shops?
As far as wineries, yes, really, there's everything from Bull Run Winery, which is right down the road, right down Bull Run Post Office Road. But as you start to head west, there's a multitude of Northern Virginia wineries. There's a fantastic brewery that my husband likes to frequent, and that is Ocelot, which is just off of Route 606. Great craft beers. Solace is nearby. So there's also craft breweries that are popping up. So it becomes a social destination on the weekends to go and hang out at one of the breweries or one of the wineries.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things that I've done in around where I live is like the men's rugby league. And where are you
Oh,
going to go after rugby? You're going to go straight to the
sure.
brewery and
Oh, well, and then
complimentary kind of thing.
from where we're located, you can go points north, south, east, and west and access some other kind of geography. That's probably been one of the best reasons to live here.
So with that being said, what are some of the the key nature spots that you would go to in like the general area or within driving? Like particular trails or particular parks? What comes to mind?
You're really not that far from Great Falls. It's maybe a 25-minute drive to go to Great Falls if you just want to hike the Virginia side of those trails. If you go maybe 35 minutes west of here, there's all kinds of hiking trails. People might even want to go a little bit further and hike Old Rag Mountain
Oh
or
yeah.
Red Oak Canyon. So those aren't too terribly far away. I find that, especially if you're raising your family, a lot of times you're going to find yourself on a sports field. Whatever activity your children are in, these sports clubs here, Dulles Youth Sports, it's offering multiple sports for boys and girls, and at all ages and all levels of ability. So there's always something for somebody to do. We just opened our bike park.
Do you remember the name of it?
It's over in the Conklin area
Okay.
in our they just opened up the bike park. We've got a dog park, and we've got probably one of the best amenities in a long time to come to our neighborhood was the Dulles South Rec Center, which has a senior center, a preschool. It's got indoor workout machines, indoor pool, classes. And so if you're a Loudoun County resident, you can have an inexpensive membership for the entire family.
You had mentioned before that during certain seasons, there's different events that you can go to. We talked about a couple before the our conversation now. One of them being the event for dogs in the swimming pool. Could you talk a little bit about that and some of the other events that are happening in the area?
There is a dog swim. And what it is you register your dog, and the town hall pool, which is the one that is most centrally located, they open it up to the dogs. So this is the last hurrah, apparently, for the summer for that pool, but they'll let the dogs come in and swim and take advantage of the pool.
That's awesome. I can definitely imagine seeing the dogs jumping off the diving board, catching a
Oh, yeah.
ball. That's amazing. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the real estate specific questions that a lot of people have when they're thinking about moving into the area.
Mhm.
And the first being what kinds of homes you can find in the area, what kind of predominant styles or colonials or Cape Cods or ranches. What are you going to find in South Riding?
So for our single family homes, the smallest units really start with kind of a front porch or just a little greeting area, more of like a center hall colonial. Uh,
Hmm.
Everything from small to large. So small would be under 2,000 square feet to well over 5,000 square feet. And price ranges right now are running in the very, very high fives to 1.5 million. And it also just depends on if it's on a larger lot or a smaller lot. Some lots range from around a tenth of an acre all the way up to 3/4 of an acre in the estate section. Many of our lots are typically quarter acre, but you'll have different size configurations on that. We also have townhomes that start from just townhomes with no garages, but street assigned parking, all the way up to a single car garage, two-car garage, and again, ranging in square footage. So you're tackling price points in the 400s to 800s for townhomes. And then
Sure.
in front of the community, we have condos, which some come with garages, some don't, but they're garden style. So basically, they are stairs, 3 floors, 3-story buildings there. So there's that type of living where it's low maintenance. You've just got your unit that's wrapping around the pond, and then we also have apartments. There's a dwelling for you and a price point for you. It's not one note. It's not one dimensional.
And as we kind of talked about, the prices are fluctuating, right, all the time.
They
They're
are.
going up, they're going down. It's kind of
Yeah.
the nature of the market. But the things that are going to be timeless, the things that are going to remain the same, are like all the things that you had mentioned before: the events, the various places to go, the proximity to various things, just kind of that overall culture of, I think, a really great, close, family-oriented community. In your experience, doing your 56 transactions this past year, you have maybe like one tip to offer prospective buyers as they're thinking about purchasing in the area?
As you're looking through the areas, determine what your commute would be. Do a drive through, perhaps drive around depending on what you're looking for. Make sure you sample some of the amenities while you're in this area. Tap into a restaurant. Maybe take a look at what the recreation is like so that you see if that's a good fit for you. And I would recommend that to buyers, whether they're looking in South Riding or they're looking in another community. If there's open houses, stop in the open houses. If you want private showings, work with a realtor who knows what they're doing, who can take you to homes that either are or aren't on the market. There's a lot of opportunities to look at homes that are not listed in MLS. Because of that partnership that I have, and because of the resources and the support that I have with the team I'm on, we have opportunities to take buyers to homes that aren't on the market, but
Yeah,
we just know that they're coming soon, and we're able to get them in the door so that they can have an opportunity to look at something that fits their needs.
yeah. Yeah, with that being said, I know that the Empower team did something in the range of like 1,000 transactions this past year on the buy and the sale side.
Yes,
So, with that being said, yeah, that's a lot of off-market homes that are
it is.
potentially off-market homes that you could be walking into, if they're incoming soon and such. If you're thinking about moving to South Riding, as Maria said, definitely take a look at some of the open houses. Get with the agent who knows the area. Obviously, Maria's a great
Yeah.
choice.
Call us.
So definitely give us a
We
call,
want to help.
give us a text. Look at the description below and take a look at the contact information down there, and reach out because we'd love to help you out, and we'd love to see you in South Riding. So, all
Thank you
right.
so
Thank you
much.
very much, Maria. Definitely
Thank
appreciate
you
your
very,
time.
very much. Such a great time to talk with you. Hope to see you
Okay.
soon.